Hello, everyone. I'm Keith Flemming. This is Fantasy Six Packs, DraftKings Cash Game show. Joined as always by my man, Joe the Brain Matz, who is just gloating about winning the Harbaugh sweepstakes. He's
It
been
is a
really
relief.
rubbing it into this Falcons fan face. He said, I believe, enjoy, Mike McDaniel or, somebody, but we're in trouble.
I don't know if you're in trouble. I mean, I think Harbaugh felt like the one. I mean, unless someone can convince Tomlin to come out of his at least brief retirement, Harbaugh's the one who feels like sure thing. You know, everyone else it feels risky, but I will say if it was me and I'm hiring or I'm interviewing, choosing who to interview, one of the guys that behind my list is Brian Flores, who
Thank you.
could not come to the Giants for reasons. So that's why it felt very high stakes to me as someone who is not. I'm not excited by Stefanski. I do think McDaniel's interesting. He might be a guy that I'd like more if he takes a year or two to be an OC, learn under someone else.
Well, what if at the Falcons? It
But
sounds like they want to keep Ulbrich, right? Like, what
which
if they
fair
hired
enough, fair
him,
enough.
McDaniels to be the head coach, and you just let Ulbrich, run the defense, which I would feel a lot better about, to be honest. But I try to remind people the Dolphins pretty good offensively the entire
Yeah,
time he's been there, despite a quarterback who I think we all agree was not good. It didn't seem who he put back in the backfield, or in the slot. They were going to feast tight ends. It didn't matter who you were. You were going to have a renaissance in Miami. And then most impressively to me, they didn't quit on him this year. I really expected that
that was
to fall
huge.
apart. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I mean, I think the offensive ability, no one should question. I believe if you separate just for the games that Tua started, they're like top 5 in DVOA over the course of his, or not DVOA, EPA per play over the course of McDaniel's time there. So super impressive since none of us think that Tua is a very good quarterback, or at least very few people do. But yeah, to me, that was the leadership was the question because it's like again, brilliant offensive mind, but he's a different personality, which automatically some people are questioning him because he's not the classic football coach.
He could be Magic Mike in Atlanta, Joe. Come on, man. Like,
But
let's
yeah,
go.
what you said, the fact that they stuck with it, and actually when he made the switch to Quinn Ewers, I thought that meant he was guaranteed to stay because I was like, but because in part I just didn't believe in Quinn Ewers. That offense looked all right with Quinn Ewers.
I think
So
he was wanting to make
another
a point
feather in his
that
cap.
I can take any quarterback that we drafted in the fourth round and get the same out of the guy that you took like fourth or fifth overall. So
Yeah.
maybe cut me some slack here. Last week, wild card round, things that we got right. Don't
Yeah, start
overthink
there.
it. Puka, CMC, Allen, like the three go-tos
Feel
all
good.
year. They did well. We also got right the Texans. Goodness gracious, did we have the Texans right? I told you I put them in 100% of my lineups. This is like the
A
one
wise
time a
move.
year where I feel like played the best defensive matchup and the best defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I go ahead and spoiler. We didn't mention it last week at the end, actually, but we did talk about it through the show. We didn't want any part of the Texans. I'm gonna play the Texans again all day, every day this week. So
Okay.
I just the weather's supposed to be bad in that game as well. Um, the thing that I was frustrated is I did say that we leaned a little too hard into the weather when we recorded the show. We
Turns
added the
out we did. Yeah.
caveat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like if it changes, and I even said I thought that Jordan Love was the best value and play at
Right.
quarterback if the weather was not as extreme. But because of that, I even after it changed, I really only played Swift in that game and in most lineups and missed out some real opportunities at wide receiver. I even said Romeo Dobbs has this postseason history. I don't know why I didn't listen to myself. The other thing that we got right was the Drake May running. Just like we had discussed, he is going to be running a lot more in these playoffs. You could just tell that they had told him, okay, the what is it? The kitty wheels are off. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Drake, make plays. And I think he's gonna have to do that again this week versus a
Absolutely.
similar defense, but actually a better one.
Yeah,
Uh,
a better version of it.
completely agree. And then anything I'm missing?
Dallas Goddard.
Goddard,
Yeah.
yes. Tips the cap to Joseph. I love that you brought up the zone thing because we've been doing these podcasts together for so long now at this point. There's a few things that like you'll have to remind me of something, but then it like, it's almost like
Clicks
the
in.
saying
Yeah.
of the word or what. It's like, oh yeah, he's got a long history of killing teams that play zone, especially with their wide receivers struggling against it. And what do you have, like 2 touchdowns, I think, in the first half or whatever? And I was like, I'm
Yeah,
golden.
one of
This
them
is
a rushing touchdown. So yeah, they
Oh,
were
I didn't
getting
know they
creative.
ruled that a rushing touchdown. I didn't know
I'm
that.
pretty sure if I think I remember looking at the box score and it was a rushing touchdown. So
That is wild. And then I owe a little bit of an apology to Carolina Panthers. I did say they would cover because it was 10.5 points, but they gave the Rams all they
Ooh,
got.
that was
Like,
close.
it
I
took
was pretty wrong.
Stafford going, well, yeah, actually, you're right. Of the two of us, you need to be apologizing more than me. But
I do apologize to the Panthers. Well,
uh,
another fantastic game against the Rams.
they're good at home. I don't understand that. I've watched plenty of their games at home and on the road this
Mm.
year because, as an Atlanta fan and living in Atlanta,
Yeah.
when Carolina is on and the Falcons are not, saying that 1 or 4 p.m., we get stuck with them all the time, which sucks, but it's better than the Saints. So this week, divisional round, you want to go game by game again? Is that cool with you?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we'll go just in the order that these games are set up. And boy, what a start to the divisional round. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, going to Denver. For the game, I just want to basically take everything I said last week and implement it in here because, I meant to give you huge props on the Shakir too, which I ended up playing
Oh
him
yeah.
in a lot of lineups. That was a great call by you. By the way, he is again a wonderful play this week, and you might be going, Keith, what the hell is wrong with you? The Broncos are one of the best secondary. They got Patrick Surtain. They do, but they really struggle with slot receivers, like really struggle. Give up the 7th most points per game in PPR formats to wide receivers. 44% of pass plays from the opposing team go to slot receivers is I think the 2nd highest rate in the NFL. Again, it makes sense, right? Like, because everybody's so good on the outside when they're
Yeah.
throwing it to wide receiver, they're going to that slot receiver.
Right.
And
Ends up being
Shakir,
funneling to the inside. Exactly.
bingo. And Shakir, by the way, 9th among all wide receivers and snaps in the slot. Almost 60% of the time. I think Brandon Cooks is also a decent option from this game for the same reason. I think I saw that he lined up in the slot like 25% of the time last week. He's dirt cheap if you're looking for one of those options, but I expect Josh Allen to do it again. And we need to have a serious talk if he wins or gets to a Super Bowl, because it is so unfair that if he loses this game or the next game or in the Super Bowl, people are going to hold it against him. They're going to hold it against him when that freaking GM who had the nerve to get up and make public comments about, we got plenty of receivers. Like, what are you talking about? And this and that. Dude, 4 of your top 6 receivers are running backs and tight ends. Okay. And your quarterback took a beating on those last 2 drives, especially on those, like QB sneaks and stuff. And, they ended up scoring 14 points when they needed it on the road. Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, who, maybe is a number 1 receiver to your point last week. And they're doing it facing defenses that stop the run, which sucks because their next best player is James Cook.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. But they've played 2 of the best defenses in the league. Like, they played one of the best run defenses last week, and they're playing maybe even a better one this week. So for the Buffalo side, I think it's Allen, Shakir, and the tight ends. Great options.
I was going to say the tight ends to me
you like both of them?
were one of the standout things. Yeah. So Some PFF stats for you.
Yeah.
Kincaid ranks among the top tight ends in yards per route run against blitz. Denver, 6th highest blitz rate.
Hello.
And then even Dawson Knox, see much higher target rate against man coverage. Denver, 7th in man rate. So again, like you said, this is a defense you're funneling towards the center because the outside is so good. And in truth, I think that, again, that works fine for Buffalo because, the reality is
they don't really have any guys on the outside.
No one's that afraid of, Keon Coleman on the outside. So it is. It's Shakir, it's Kincaid, it's Knox. And then, James Cook is kind of the strength on strength here where, like you said, good run defense, good, general defense. And that's become really the strength of this Buffalo team is running the ball. So yeah, to me, don't fuck around and try to guess the right outside receiver for Buffalo. There's no reason to try that in this matchup at all. Get the guys who are going to be catching those balls over the middle of the field.
So is Allen a lock for you this week? Because he is for me.
I'm definitely going to keep monitoring the weather because if I know it's going to be cold as shit, obviously, in that Rams
cold everywhere.
It's going to be cold everywhere. Rams Bears is currently supposed to be like 19, 20 degrees. So that's super cold. But
it's going to feel like it's 4 degrees, I think I saw at kickoff. You couldn't pay me to go to a game in that conditions. Couldn't pay me.
Oh, you could pay me. I don't know that I would pay, but you could pay me.
The cold weather, Joe. And if you're talking about 4 degrees, I complain, dude. I would die. Like I think I'd literally die.
I walked through 10-degree snow in Colorado. So
for Denver, snow.
Denver. What I'm seeing currently is just above freezing, light wind, clear skies. So pretty good overall.
So what are we monitoring the weather for?
No, I'm not. So the alternative to Josh Allen is where I'm monitoring weather.
Okay,
is because
you do agree, don't overthink it. He's 71. I think by far outside of the 2 guys or the 3 guys that are all in the 8K range, he is the most safe option that I believe in on this slate. Again, we talked about last week. A lot of young, inexperienced quarterbacks. That was why I was on Allen last week. Ultimately, that's why I'm on this week. He's going to get me 20 points. If he has a Josh Allen game like he did last week, he might get you 30. But I think it's very safe.
Yeah, I don't think you should be afraid for Josh Allen's sake of this Broncos defense. Again, I think James Cook takes a hit. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. I'm always fine to roll the dice there. But yeah, to me, the best matchup straight up, if we're trying to remove the weather and all that, it would be the Stafford and the Rams passing game against the Bears defense.
Okay.
That to me is the key matchup. And then the other, you could talk me into like a Drake May again, because I think he's going to have to run because he's going to get pressured. And we get those rushing yards, things can work out for us. And even Bo Nix, I think, because of his running ability, if you really wanted to save money. But I'm probably going to be hammering the Allen Stafford one or the other in most of my lineups, if not all.
Joe, you better be playing Allen. You told me that you regret it last week after I told you all week to play Josh Allen. He's Josh Allen, man. He's Superman. I'm realizing that. That dude is so freaking good. Like his passing numbers were also ridiculous last week. That throw he made to Cooks, he was running for his life, across his body. And I just love that he's learned to not always fire everything, right? Like that was a lob pass. Like we really need this
big difference
play.
from early Josh Allen for sure.
He's open. Let's just get down there. As much as I love Josh Allen this week and we'll be playing him, RJ Harvey is going to also be in 100% of my lineups. I feel like, and I felt a little bad bringing this up to Mike Dempsey on Football Diehards last night because he is a huge Jags fan, but they screwed up. They went away from the run when they were just gashing the Bills. There was no reason for them to throw so much more than they ran when, halfway through the second quarter, I thought Travis Etienne was going to run for 200 yards. I'm interested to see, can Sean Payton not make the same mistake? Because I know he likes to throw it and play action it and everything else, but he needs to feed RJ Harvey. Harvey has been one of the best backs in the league post their bye. And I mean, again, this is just a fantastic matchup. Buffalo has been getting eviscerated on the ground over now almost the last 2 months, but especially the last few games of the season. And then again, Jacksonville, I mean, both backs, I think they combined for 14 carries for like 170 yards. Again, why did they only have 14 carries? I don't know. But
I'm lost on that as well.
That makes me feel good that you were perplexed because I didn't know what the hell was going on.
It's not a secret that Buffalo's run defense is terrible. That to me, that's every time that the Bills have come up in conversation about the playoffs, where people are like, "Well, Josh Allen better win it this year." I'm like, this is not a prime Buffalo defense. This is not like obviously it went terribly awry in that 15-second game. But over the course of that season, that defense was a lot better than this defense.
Oh, yeah. They've
primarily
had a couple of
because of the run.
That were pretty good.
They had some, maybe not elite, but not far off from it defenses in the last few years. A lot of their back end has really aged out, and the D-line has never become what they'd hoped with what they've invested there.
Well, and losing Ed Oliver was just...
losing Ed Oliver
for the running. Yeah.
So, you're absolutely right. I mean, again, Trevor Lawrence... We've talked about how he's been playing, or was now at this point, the best football of his career. But again, if you're good at running the ball, and the Jags are at least okay at it, and actually Denver's pretty good at it, 100%, that's what you should be doing against the Bills. Keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. And, even if you're pro Bo Nix, I think in this matchup, you should be like, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And if you're someone who's not quite as sold as Bo Nix, it's an even easier call that the strategy should be run it over and over and over again. And like you said, RJ Harvey, talented running back. I think with one of our preseason pods, I was saying how he was a guy I wanted to try to get on as many teams as possible. And that kind of worked out if you were able to make the playoffs. If you didn't, it might be because RJ Harvey was taking up a roster spot and doing nothing for 2 months.
Him and TreVeyon Henderson had pretty similar seasons in many ways.
Absolutely. And TreVeyon, had a really big game against the Bills the last time that they played, even in a loss in the end. So, it's 100% with you. He's really the only, again, you can talk me into Bo Nix if you're trying to save money, because I think he'll probably do okay, especially running the ball. But I'm not really excited about the rest of these.
They don't have that slot receiver like Parker Washington, who, again, you had mentioned that coming into last week. Well, that's another really good. We had actually some really good.
Parker. We were all in. I think I had him in every lineup, and
I did too.
Thank God.
It's just his price felt extremely underpriced for his performance recently.
Yeah,
and Buffalo is good defending outside receivers. That's why they're so good versus wide receivers overall. And then also, again, part of that is just they're so bad versus the run. Teams are running on them a lot.
Yeah, it works.
But I don't feel like Denver has that slot receiver the way that Parker and Washington, does to be able to just kind of, beat them in the middle of the field. Franklin and Sutton are more down the field guys. And again, I think they're going to lean heavily on the run. I don't feel comfortable though about any other Bronco. And I mean, that's kind of the deal this week.
For me.
Last week, I wish I would have, honed it down even less. I think I only had like 12, players that I was considering, but I wish it was less, because at this point, you might as well just, trust the info, trust your gut, and go with it, because, I mean, again, there's even less games to pick from this week. There's just 4.
Right. It just keeps narrowing down. So.
Right. So go ahead and get in the mood for that. The Niners versus the Seahawks. First of all, it is ridiculous that the NFL scheduled this Saturday. I think it is so messed up. The Bears and Rams both played on Saturday. So them playing on Saturday, there would be no rest advantage for either team. The Niners played on Sunday, and they're also, by the way, playing a team coming off a bye. And you're like, hey, y'all get to play Saturday.
Good luck.
It really does piss me off. I like this Niners team a lot. Like I have more respect for Kyle Shanahan than I think I ever have. Brock Purdy is just so good and criminally underrated. Did you see the quarterbacks where they were drafted of the divisional playoff group? It's like first, third, seventh, fourth, and then the last pick of the draft.
256.
Yeah, it's like it's nuts to see, and they have overcome obstacles all year. And
Absolutely.
good friend of the show, Ryan Mulvey's got the Inside Drive podcast. He said that he's actually happy that they did that. He goes, yes, maybe that extra day could get Fred Warner back in the lineup. Maybe that extra day, could just get them a little bit healthier. But he's like, you know what? It's just one more thing that has been thrown at them this year. And they've had a real message in their locker room of control what you can control, right? Sure. And, this is a game that there's a lot of players I like. And almost all of them are on the Niners side. I think Jake Tongs is the best value this week anywhere. He is 22nd. What have you told me all year about tight ends playing the Philadelphia Eagles?
Oh, playing the Eagles?
Just throw it out.
Throw it out. Right? That team shuts down tight ends.
And he still had 2 receptions. So I think a lot of people are not going to be playing this week. Like, well, he came in last week and he scored 2.8 points.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. But
and I'm sure you're about to get to Seattle is not Philadelphia against tight ends.
Well, not only that, like the first game of the season, he scored 10.8 points versus Seattle. And just a reminder, George Kittle played 1 drive. And he had 10 points because he had 3 receptions and a touchdown. Then Tonga's game ended the same. And to your point, Seahawks versus tight ends, 4th most targets, 8.47 per game, 4th most receptions, 6.18 per game, and the 6th most receiving yards. I love playing, Tongs and then putting in either a Knox or a Kincaid. I've already built a bunch of lineups like that. That allows me to play a lot more of these expensive pairings that I want to. It definitely makes it easy to do Allen CMC, Allen, Puka without, then having to just go cheap everywhere. You can still have some really
It's hard to go cheap everywhere.
Yeah.
Because, when the thing you always want to find is like that cheap wide receiver you feel really good about. And I'm not sure that exists this week for me.
They made it really difficult with the pricing this week. Remember last week I told you I was shocked how easy it was. Because most of my lineups did have all 3 of CMC.
A couple,
Yeah, Puka and Allen, because there was enough cheap darts, like being able to put somebody like Washington, who's $5K, right? It's basically my next most expensive player and feeling really good about it in a cash setting. Like, that's great. This week, total opposite. Like, you gotta have some cash, because running back's same deal. I mean, you get below 5, whatever Walker's at. I think he's like 52 or 5,500. It is tough sledding after that if you're looking for somebody that's going to get the ball for sure a good bit of time. So do you like Tongs? Is that somebody you're on this week as well? Or if not, where you want to start on this game?
Oh, no, yeah. I'm definitely in on Tongs. Again, there's 3 defenses in this slate that are in the bottom, like 10 to 12 in yardage allowed to tight ends. It's New England, it's Denver, and it's Seattle. And Seattle is the worst of them. It gave up 64 yards per game. 2 tight ends. So to me, like you said, when we're trying to get multiple really high priced guys into our lineups, the easy answer is going to be going tight end. And AJ Barner is also, I think you could go as cheap as the 2 of them. Again, one of the better inline legitimate blocking tight ends who can also give you points receiving the ball. 49ers, according to PFF, 28th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends lined up in line this year.
Well, remember what Dallas Goedert did, lining up in line just last week.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say about this game, because, again, I like both tight ends. I think McCaffrey, because Seattle gives up a lot of receptions, targets, yards, all of the above in the receiving game to opposing running backs. And he had,
Did you read my article that I haven't even posted yet, Joe? Because that is a huge section when I talk about CMC.
9 receptions in their week 1 matchup. So to me, those are 3 I really look at. The thing I find bizarre about this game And maybe it's, maybe it turns out this way because considering the team San Francisco's become with how many injuries they have on offense or on defense, and the offense getting healthier, obviously not fully healthy with George Kittle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think relatively high scoring game. They've played twice. It was, the first week of the season and the last week of the season. They combined, both teams across 2 games combined to score 46 points total. The over under in this game is 45.5. That's a little confusing to me that we're like, you know what? The over under is the exact amount of points they combined for over 2 games. So
the one caveat I would add is you cannot understate how important Trent Williams is for San Francisco. He did not play week 18. It's why I have the Niners upsetting the Seahawks this week.
Okay.
And I actually think that's a mistake if Seattle, because it seemed like with the way Seattle's ran it and how easy it is to do against the Niners, and I'm about to tell you a million reasons in a minute why you should play Zach Charbonnet this week, but I actually think the Seahawks win this game if it turns into a shootout. I think a lower scoring, game, I'd take Shanahan and San Francisco. Like Purdy's got more experience in the playoffs. Same for Shanahan. There's just a lot of, that experience. And it's a huge deal in these playoffs. We see this with young teams all the time, and particularly with young quarterbacks. I know Darnold's not really that young, but in terms of a playoffs, like last year was his first and only start, right? Yeah.
Last year was the first time, obviously didn't go great.
So, and I'm sure it's a much better opportunity than it was last year, even though the Rams, I thought they broke them about halfway through that game.
It felt like it.
I do. I think that they have to be careful. I want to add, because you brought it up, though, on CMC real quick, if you don't mind. Again, Seattle, you said it, one of the best run defenses in the league, but 5.41 targets per to running backs, 4.6 receptions. That's the most of both in the NFL to opposing wide receivers. And it's CMC's production in the passing game that makes me confident in him this week, last week, and overall. I mean, he's averaged, remember, the highest expected fantasy points per game in fantasy history. That is solely because of what he did in the passing game this year. He averages 6.3 targets, 5.3 receptions, 41 yards per game, and 5 touchdowns in the 9 games that both Trent Williams and Brock Purdy played. And with DraftKings PPR format, that's 9.4 points per game just in receptions and receiving yards. If you add in those touchdowns, which is like another 3.3 points, that's 12.7 points per game just as a receiver. And we saw last week, they're going to lean on him even more. And Shanahan's going to have some tricked up plays to get him open. I think I feel more safe about CMC than I do Puka this week. A lot of it is the fact that, again, we're talking crazy cold game for the Rams versus Chicago. Like, I feel like they totally set up Chicago to win that game by making it the Sunday night game. It's going to be so cold because it is like a late primetime game, right? Not like a 6 p.m. or what is it? I guess 6 p.m. would be dark anyway.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. But I mean, the main thing I would say, I don't think you're saying this at all, but for anyone who's, conspiracy minded that they're trying to hurt the Niners, they're trying to help the Bears, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the reality is I think Rams is a higher draw, and that's why it's the Sunday.
No, I'm not saying that it's like
I didn't think you were. I'm just throwing it out there. Like,
I will say the Niners thing
money wins all.
No sense to me. Like, if you care about player safety and all this other BS,
I
don't know how you can let a team go 5 days and playing a team that's had a full week off. Like, if anybody deserves, and again, if the Rams and Bears had not both played on Saturday, I would not be saying this at all, because then it would be like, okay, they played on Saturday last week. It's only fair that they get the extra day, right? Against whoever they're playing. But they both played Saturday, so there'd be absolutely no advantage.
No, logically, it doesn't make sense. Again, it's all about, the NFL cares about player safety up until a point, and that point is when
they get ready to cash them checks.
Yeah, when it becomes safety or money. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're going to have 18 games sometimes in the next 5 to 10 years. Like, they want more money. The end. So that's what matters. That's why the 49ers get 1 day less rest. That's why the Rams are going to have to play in a night game in Chicago, and it's a 6:30 Eastern start. So that is
that's going to be cold. It's going to be cold though.
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
So again, I do think CMC is a very safe play. And he's slightly cheaper again. I know it's only like $100 or $200, but hey, again, this is something I kept saying over and over again on Football Diehards last night. Every dollar counts, particularly in cash game lineups this time of the year, because you are trying to fit together the strongest lineup you can. And especially for cash, I'm looking for safe plays. And last week was a prime example that just by playing Allen and CMC in almost every lineup, I had a really good week, especially when you add in that I had Parker Washington and Texans. The rest of the lineup didn't do that much. Like the ones that I had Shakir, because I listened to you, they did really well. But the ones I didn't, I still cashed. You really only need, a few players to go off to be in the green. And then if you get lucky and, catch the right pieces in other directions, it's even better. Anything else on the Niners side you want to discuss before we talk a little bit about Seattle?
No, I don't think so. For me, it's McCaffrey, it's Tongas. Receivers, I mean, again, this is give or take, you can make your arguments whether it's Houston, whether it's Seattle. To me, those are the two best defenses in the NFL. And that's been pretty clear for at least the second half of the season.
Yep.
And in Seattle, their offense has kind of tailed off a little bit. The defense, I think, is playing the best they've played all season. So
their performance in the Week 18 matchup was ridiculous. Phenomenal. Again, I do think Trent Williams played a huge part in that, but he's only one dude. And I don't know, like with the way it looked, it does make me worried that even a 6'7", 330-pound giant, God among men, I don't know if, he can stop that pass rush, which late in the season, because their ability on the interior and the exterior to get pressure.
This is a complete defense, and their personnel, is so good where they can just pretty much line up in nickel and dime the entire game, and you still can't run it on them. And, the way McCaffrey's run this year,
it doesn't matter anyway. Do you know what they averaged per rush attempt for the season this year, the Niners? Because it about me fell on my chair. I knew it was bad. 3 yards per carry, Joe.
Heck no, that can't be right.
It's either 3 or 3.2. I looked it up.
I mean, he's at like 3.8 or something like that. 3.9.
No, he's not that high, I don't think.
I think he is.
No.
I feel like I looked this up because I'm always curious about like all pro teams. And I was like, well, he's done a lot, but can you put him in over a Bijan?
Let's see if the edible had hit when Keith was doing this research or not. We will find out in literally just a second. While you're looking that up, I'm going to go ahead and say why I think Zach Charbonnet and RJ Harvey should be your backs.
The two guys. Okay, do it.
So, I mean, they're extremely reasonably priced, and they have, I think, the best two matchups among the running backs. And, I mean, if you want to play Walker, like he's again, $200 cheaper. And they finished the season doing really well. Charbonnet and Walker, Week 18, 171 yards on 33 carries, averaging over 5 yards per. But this is following a theme. Seattle, the last 3 games of the season, Walker rushed for 248 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Charbonnet, 206, but with 4 touchdowns. And again, Charbonnet, despite being $200 more, I think he's the way better option. If you look at it, he played 50 to 60% of the offensive snaps over the team's last 3 games, while Walker played 30 to 34. But what really stood out, I'm sure to you, was that 3 touchdowns more, right? It's like, wow, despite him having
we'll take that.
40 yards less, he had 3 touchdowns. That makes up that difference real quick and then some. Well, the red zone splits are insane. Those same last 3 games, Kenneth Walker had all of 2 red zone touches. Charbonnet, 14. 12 of them coming in the last 2 games of the season. I I think Seattle is going to be conservative in the red zone. Sam Darnold will throw some picks. Like, he's great at big plays, but
the
not
risk is
so
there
well when they
always.
get down. Yeah. So I just think it's very likely Charbonnet scores at least one touchdown. And if the Niners don't do something, Seattle is going to be able to run on them. Yes, Walker has a better chance of busting the big one. But I just like Charbonnet, kind of pounding the rock. That's really how I think Seattle can win this Super Bowl, is pounding that rock. Let Sam Darnold and JSN just kill people with play action off of the success of the run game and rely on your defense.
No, I think that's a compelling case. I will say, just off that Darnold point, to me, when you look at the defenses this week, I'm either going, one of those top few. Again, Seattle has shut down San Francisco across 2 different games, so I think that makes sense. You can kind of pick your winner of the Houston-New England game as a potential defense. But if you want to go cheap, then to me, it's the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't totally get that pricing. Again, I think they're factoring in this has not been a great defense. They're super banged up, so there's not a lot of reason to believe in them. They're coming off a 2-point game against Philly, and that's a game where they only gave up 19 points.
Yep.
So it wasn't they were horrific. They didn't make any plays at each point. Yep. They had a single sack.
Yep.
But across 2 games against Seattle this year, it was 15 points and at least 6 in both. So it wasn't they scored 14 one week and 1 point the other week.
That's one with all their dudes and one without basically any of them. If you think about it, because they played week 1 and week 18, which is just crazy. They started into the season against each other.
They gave up 13 points in both games defensively. So, to me, like you said, Darnold, obviously he's played better this year than even last year overall. And I don't think I don't see there being any way it crumbles to the degree that it did last year, where he's just getting sacked over and over again.
He was under siege, though.
Yeah, this San Francisco team does not have the line to do that. And and then this 49ers team, especially with Trent Williams back, is a better line than what that Minnesota line. I don't know if people remember that Minnesota line, their best players like Darisaw was out. That line was crumbling already. So don't expect that kind of meltdown. But again, if we get 6 or 7 points from a defense that costs us $2,200 and helps us get some other guys in, that's a deal we'll take every time. Do you have any interest in JSN since he's $500 cheaper than Nakua, or is it just I'd rather spend up on McCaffrey and Nakua though?
Of course, I would rather play McCaffrey or Puka though. I mean, Puka just such a better matchup. Like Chicago,
That's how I feel about it.
Like if the weather was any better, it would be Puka in every single lineup with Stafford, like every single one of them. I'm still not going to play Stafford because again, I'm out on a bus this week, but I'm still going to have Puka in a good bit of lineups. And I do like JSN. It's just the way they utilized him, down the stretch. It's not what you think from number 1 receivers where they're getting just peppered with targets. He's just so effective with the targets that he gets that, unless he breaks a big one, he's going to have around like 5 catches for 100 yards. It seems like, is most of his stat line, 6-7 for, 110, 120. But I think I would rather do that, but it's the same thing I wrote in the article. Anybody wants to play JSN or Puka, I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah, these guys are too good.
Yeah, now he does in the 2 games against San Francisco, so obviously you can decide how telling they are again because of how far apart they were, the maximum amount they could be apart. 9 receptions on 13 targets for $124 in week 1. And then 6 receptions on 8 targets for 84 2 weeks ago. So he has been productive. Now, obviously, if you end up with the stat line from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, 14.4 points is not really doing it for us in this situation.
Even the week 1 stat line would be basically a wash at his price, right? No, not even. He would still be under, right? I mean, that would be, you need like almost 25.5 points.
Yeah, that'd be about a point off from what we're aiming for. Where, McCaffrey, it was 23 points week 1. Now, obviously, week 18 was rough because they scored 3 points. So he only scored 11.7 in that game. But that game is kind of like the giant outlier of the season. I mean, he only had 8 carries for 23 yards in that game. So, assuming that their run game isn't completely shut down to the degree it was there, obviously, I think McCaffrey makes a lot of sense. I think my biggest issue with McCaffrey is, and I think I have a slightly different second running back to you. I do like the case you made
for Sharbs,
but we'll get to my complimentary running back to RJ Harvey because I'm very much in on the Harvey play. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So my main thing with McCaffrey is like backs. I actually do like some other guys. Or wide receiver, I feel like 100%. If I don't get Puka or JSN, it's going to be because I'm going a little cheaper to get Devontae, who also, again, Bears play a lot of man defense. The Rams are better against man.
Yep.
But you have to get one of those top wide receivers. It's got to be one of the Rams
adjusted though. I do
JSN.
want to just remind you that because when they played Green Bay,
where they switched it up more.
They played a ton of man, got killed. The last 2 times they played them, much more zone because they just realized if we played man, we're going to get our head beat in. So it may be a deal in the game versus the Rams. They might start man, but I know how that's going to end, and then they might transition to more zone as the game goes on.
But yeah, to me, I mean, my favorite play on Seattle might just be Barner because, again, I think that's a plus matchup.
Value. Yep.
Again, you can get the 2 tight ends from this game, and you're going to spend, what is it, $7,000 combined.
Can't beat that.
So that frees you up to do a lot of interesting stuff you want to do. So, yeah, I think I'm with you where JSN feels like, of the super high price guys, he feels like the third guy, which means he's probably not going to end up in very many, maybe even any of my lineups, depending on how things shake out.
All right, so let's talk about the rock fight then. The team that I think has a great chance, and I'll keep saying this, the guys on Football Diehards last night kind of gave me a...
They don't believe they're not believers?
Well, they were just like, you really think the Texans? And it's actually a case that you made when I first brought it up that their defense, I think, is the best unit left in these NFL playoffs. And I think that's still true, like, to this point. Like, that defense is just so much speed.
Awesome.
They're so good in coverage. And, like, let's not forget, Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell had really been rushing the ball well. Yeah, that didn't happen so much on Sunday.
As far as Pittsburgh versus the Houston defense, that went exactly the way I thought it would. It was that was a game where I was watching and I was like, Houston, you can't lose this game.
Right, because Stroud kept fumbling it over and over again, and I'm like, what is going on? Is the Steelers going to keep getting away with this crap? Because they've done it all year.
Again, every New England fan will remember, like, they turned it over 5 times in a game they lost by 1 score to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, because it wasn't even like Houston couldn't move the ball against Pittsburgh. It's like they kept moving it. Yeah. And then they'd get to, like, the 30-yard line, and there'd be Stroud would do something weird. Or that one of them was a flea flicker where the guy was open. That one gets knocked out.
Terrible call, though, in that situation.
But yeah, then the latter fumble and then the interception he threw, just inexplicable plays where I think that was the
really rough early.
That to me was the worst game, I think, playoff game we've seen him play. I know the game against Baltimore, I think a couple years ago, was not great, but that was like number 1 overall seed Baltimore, who seemed like a juggernaut before Kansas City happened. But yeah, I think that was the worst game he played. And of course, they ended up winning the game by like 25 points because eventually
he joined Brady and Mahomes. It's the only quarterbacks with 3
at least 1 win in their first 3.
Yeah, their first 3 years in the league. Or first 3 years as a starter. Which is just Brady too.
Both of them waited till year 2. So
phenomenal stuff. And the Collins thing is obviously a huge concern, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, Christian Kirk looked like the guy me and you were fawning over all last summer when we were like, this is basically Stephon Diggs, but much cheaper, and he won't be the headache, and he gets open and small spaces, and And he looked like that guy. I wish he'd have done that all season, and then with Higgins,
Well, and then
Noel,
you
and
saw, I'm
Hutchinson,
sure
they have some good receivers to where I don't think it's a death blow. Like I would have thought it would have been like the middle of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, especially because, I mean, yeah, like you said, Kirk, much healthier than he was maybe the entire season. And then the fact that every other like wide receiver on that team feels like a first. I mean, I don't remember how old Xavier Hutchinson is, but you drafted two guys.
Yeah.
You drafted two guys last year in the draft who both have seen the field. Obviously, they're going to get better as they go. So I'm with you. I think it's not the death knell, and that with that defense, even if it felt that way, this was a team that went 3-0, right? Not 4-0,
Yep.
At least 3-0 with Davis Mills at quarterback.
Yep.
So
3-0.
yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier that Buffalo is like, all right, we want to just run the ball and kick ass, and it's like potentially Buffalo's. If the Buffalo is destined to keep moving, potentially it's going to go Jags, Broncos, Texans, Seahawks, and they're never going to get a matchup where they're going to feel good about the run game because, yeah, I think.
But they're never going to play a team that I feel is like elite at running the ball either, which is so key.
That's the more important part for them. Yeah. I mean, you look at, again, both of these teams, because these would be the potential matchup. Denver is actually the most effective run game.
Yep.
On that side of the bracket.
I think if they get by this game, I'm really starting to believe Josh Allen will just figure it out. And it literally will be that. So
you call this game the rock fight. So is there anyone you feel good about? Again, I mean, I think quarterback, I can feel okay about Drake May, even against Houston, just because, again, you know me, I'm going to always be like, I believe in Drake May.
Oh, yeah. I mean, rightfully so. It was his first playoff game. I think he was a little jittery, which is understandable. It's his first start at home in the playoffs. He looked really good. The second half numbers were incredible.
He was really good in the second half. The first half,
that's a good Chargers defense. And he ran a lot, which, again, that's just a huge bonus. So, no, I totally get
and that's the key to me, again, because I don't feel good about the Patriots' ability to run on the Texans. I don't feel good about accurate, like I might end up when I need to find a receiver who's like under 5K, I might just throw a dart on one of the receivers on either team in this game and just be like, you know what, maybe this is the Jalen Noel game, maybe this is the Kyle Williams game, it's Mario Douglas game, because
Christian Kirk's very reasonably priced for what he just did. And
Christian Kirk 4,100, yeah. So, but like the hard part is predicting that, right?
Right, yeah.
No matter what, so you're kind of guessing. So, like I said, you can throw a dart at one of these receivers, but Drake May to me is the best fantasy play in this game. Now, again, do you want to play him? Is the savings worth enough to not go with Allen or Stafford? I don't think so, at least not generally. I might throw like one lineup in with Drake May. But, I mean, the rock fight is probably accurate. I think this game is just on Drake to win. As far as
when you look at these teams, a lot of a really young quarterback.
It is. The question, of course, is
starter.
How many points wins this game, I guess, is the real question. And it feels like it's probably 16 or 17 points.
Oh, you think it's that low scoring?
I certainly think it's got that possibility. I mean,
so Patriots,
that's how New England Chargers played out.
A snow game are rising rapidly. East Coast winter storm turning into a New England snowfest Sunday into early Monday. Chances are definitely rising for sure. I would love that. That would be so amazing.
That sounds, I mean, again, as someone not in attendance.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. I mean, yeah, keep in mind, the Patriots won that game 16-3 against the Chargers. And, ultimately, Houston scores 30, but two of those are pick six, fumble six in the fourth quarter.
By the way, how much was it?
Scored 16
did you enjoy
points.
Rogers' last probably passes?
A pick six where he gets stiff-armed out of bounds? I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I loved it. I watched it, I rewinded it back and watched it like 5 times.
It would be hard to top. Like, part of me, I'm always kind of sad when these older guys retire just because it makes me feel older. I'm like, LeBron can never retire.
Right.
Because as long as LeBron is there, someone who was in the NBA when I was in middle school is still in the NBA.
That's amazing.
So it's like, yeah, I'm still young as long as LeBron is playing. So I will miss Rodgers. I'll miss rooting against him, especially now that it's not scary anymore. You're just kind of like, I'm going to enjoy this because it's going to go bad for you.
And he looks like he's trying to figure out the entire game. Who can I blame this on? You know, it's
right.
so much this and this.
And again, it's like I said last week too. The Texans felt like the worst possible matchup because again, you can be the smartest quarterback in the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers might be.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say.
They're not disguising anything. They're just going to kick your ass.
100.
So is there anyone that really like strikes your fancy in this game, or is it kind of like I said, where it's like you can throw a dart on someone because someone will have to score probably?
So Texans D for sure.
Sure.
Feel very good about them again.
Always.
Christian Kirk is another guy too, because whether Collins plays or not, we know. And actually, I meant to ask you, did you see his Christian Gonzalez status? Because didn't he have a concussion last week too?
He did have a concussion. So
While you're looking that up, I'm just thinking that obviously Gonzalez is not going to be on Christian Kirk. Kirk lines up in the slot the most, and that was just where Stroud looked the most comfortable throwing the ball. The only concern I really have for Houston, I do not think they're going to be able to run the ball at all, again, we talked about this last week and why we didn't want anything of the Chargers, period, across the board. Was not only were they obviously going to be under siege throwing the ball, but nobody has been able to run on the Patriots this year when they have Milton. I think it's Williams is the last name. The big nose tackle.
And then the Texans don't seem like the team that would break that.
Even though Woody Marks looked good last week.
Woody Marks did look good.
I saw him the entire game. Because anybody that had him in fantasy knows that it's like there was one quarter every game where you're like, oh yeah, Woody Marks breakout game. He had 50 yards on 5 carries a quarter, and then he'd have 4 carries over the next half, or 2 quarters for 7 yards, and you're like, okay, or not. But they seem to really let him take over the running. Most of Chubb's carries were when it was well over with.
And the other thing too is Robert Spillane has been back at linebacker for the Patriots, which my brother's a Patriots fan, and he says every time, he's like, I think that's even bigger for the run game.
Oh wow.
It's PFF grade 8th among 90 linebackers that played enough to qualify. Wow. 8th best run grade. So yeah, this is a Patriots defense that is healthier. Christian Gonzalez was a full participant today, so as long as he's a go, that to me, that's when you probably just, if he's playing, you're just crossing off Higgins. You're just like, that there's no reason to go there.
Look like Gonzalez will be clear, but Collins weren't. The severity of it, I don't understand this whole concussion thing.
I mean, it's a brain injury, so I think it really is just very dependent on the individual. Obviously, the type of hit can matter too, but I mean, some guys they don't miss
Collins off for a concussion. That's why I was confused. Right? Didn't they cart him off?
They did cart him off. Yeah. I don't remember if he got to the sideline or not first, but I do remember he ended up on the cart getting wheeled out of the stadium. So, yeah, I think I've seen guys, miss a month. I've seen guys, especially if it's a second concussion, then it could be so much worse. But yeah, so it's dependent. Obviously, knock on wood, Christian Gonzalez, nothing else happens because you get 2 concussions in 2 weeks, and I mean, yeah, that's when legitimately I'd be advising guys, retirement might be an option you want to explore. Yeah. Which again, Tua, I mean, thank God he hasn't suffered another one since. Right. But Tua might be the ideal plan for him. Might be what he seems destined for, which is backup quarterback, where your risk is much lower. You can keep cashing those paychecks without taking those hits.
To answer your question, though, the only plays I feel Christian Kirk is absolutely, in my opinion, a safe play. I think whether Collins plays,
you're talking me into it. Yeah, he's on the inside.
That's a really good value for
a guy who just
somebody
had a
that
huge
I'd be
game.
shocked if he doesn't at least get 5-6 targets. Like, shocked. And I think it's probably more likely he gets closer to like 7 to 9 targets. In that price range, you can't beat it. And then I might sprinkle in cash lineups a Dalton Schultz or Pop Douglas. Those are the other two players
It's
for
true.
this
Yeah,
game I really like.
I shouldn't forget the Patriots. Not good against tight ends. So Dalton Schultz.
And especially if
Yeah,
Collins is out.
join
If
the
I'm not
party.
mistaken, when Nico missed, those games in the middle of the season, or maybe it was the third, fourth of the season, I know that Schultz volume went up significantly for the time he was out.
Yeah, so Schultz, I think, is interesting. Really, with this slate, I wish I could like swap out a wide receiver.
3 tight ends? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, the prices are lower, and I feel more confident once you go below like 5K. Like you said, Christian Kirk, I think you've talked me into it. That feels like that's probably the play here, where he's going to avoid Gonzalez.
That feels like he's priced
Collins
that way because they played on Monday. It really does. Because I think otherwise he would have 100% not been that cheap. Like, I just can't believe he would have been. Like, especially, I forgot who it was. We saw this last week with one of the receivers where he had a good game. I think it was like week 18. And then for the wild card, he costs significantly more. I mean, like, this is a time where they're a lot more reactionary than they are during the regular season. Like, they're going to move guys up. I mean, you look at what Allen and CMC, they both, went up. I think Allen only went up like 100 or 200, but CMC, I think, went up 300. Puka actually went down 100. Like, I pay attention to that stuff.
Right.
You want to talk about the last game or anything else?
Yeah, with the game where I wish the weather was better, because then this I'd just be throwing in everyone from this game.
We would go into Sunday at like 5, 6 o'clock having no idea how we'd be doing in all of our contests because we have like our whole lineup to go. Is that what you're saying?
That was the thing that I'd kind of forgotten going into this week. I was like, what? Like, you just have no idea the whole time. Like, if your guy scores 30, you feel good, but there's just so much waiting because you don't know who else is in other people's lineups, and it's just the slow play. It really drags.
The sweat of I went into the Monday night game. We have a group of, there's about 20 of us. It's $10 every week. We pay, I think, 2 or 3 places. Depends on how many people are in it. And I needed 22 points with the Texans defense and Nico Collins. And I was like, I'm freaking set. This is a lock. Nico might score that by himself. And then Nico gets knocked out. And that was before either of the touchdowns. And I'm like,
right. Yeah. It was not looking good.
I wasn't even going to cash because, that's how close those things are with 15, 20 people. It's like 22 points, you're in the lead. But when I was at like 12 or whatever they had, I wasn't even going to cash. And that first defensive touchdown put me like a point away. And I was like, man, this is going to be so close. And then they basically locked it up before the second touchdown. So I was like, thank you, Texans D. This, first of all, can we just talk about the Chicago game for a few minutes? I can't get over what they're doing. I can't get over it. It's like, me and you are logical people. How does this keep happening? I don't understand it. Like,
they've overtaken the Broncos as the horseshoe up the ass. Their luck is incredible team.
Right.
Where they just keep finding ways to win these. Again, the Green Bay games they're all insane, all three, and they even lost one of them. Where you look at the splits between the first half and the second half, like their offense, I think I'm trying to pull it up because I know I posted about it at the time. They scored, first half, 3 games combined. First half, 41 Packers, 6 for the Bears. It's 6 points in 1.5 games when we add those up. Second half, it's 68-30 Bears. That's counting the overtime too that they've won.
Ben Johnson's like, you're my bitch.
Like from 6 to 68. Even accounting that one of those scores is OT
and stuff. Like, that's got to be to me. That screams coaching. Like, it just does. And I like Matt LaFleur a lot, but holy smokes!
The confusing thing to me is that it happened 3 times. That's where I'm lost. I'm like,
because I forget that even though they lost the first game, the Bears made a feverish comeback at the end of that.
Right, exactly. All 3 games followed us. Late in the second quarter, one of my best friends is a Packers fan. We're on a text thread. And someone else is like, oh, you got to be feeling really good right now. And he's like, this is going to be a 1-score game. Because you've seen it twice already. And it had like that's why I'm confused though. I'm like, is Green Bay making adjustments in between games, and then the Bears are slow to adjust back, and then they get halftime and they're like, we got to figure it out. Like, I don't understand. It's so confusing to me the way that 3 games could follow the exact same script. It's
and they've
nuts.
done this though, in fairness, a ton. I'm pretty sure that
That's their vibe. Yeah.
8 wins this year where they were trailing in the fourth quarter. I'm pretty sure it's 4 victories when they were down 7 points with 2 minutes or less to go. Like, that is absurd. They're unbelievable. And Loveland just out of this world. This is why I get in the overreactions of everybody and myself included in the fantasy football community. We were all talking about, can you believe those idiots? Chicago took him over Tyler Warren. He's a bum. Look how much better Warren is. And it's like, Warren's good. Don't get me wrong. But as you can see, maybe the Bears did make the right pick. He looks a little gronkish out there at times.
He looks phenomenal.
He's so big and fast. Looks like Tucker Kraft, to be honest. Like, that's who it kind of reminds me of that plays right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's legitimately, I think he has the potential to be in the conversation for best tight end in the NFL next year. And that's with it
Brock
being
Bowers,
competitive.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think if you're going top 5 tight ends, depending on Tucker Kraft's health, it would be the 2 you just named, the 2 rookies from this year, and then Kraft. Well, all 5 of the, like,
what about
to me,
your boy Kyle Pitts? I'm kidding.
I mean, I will say Kyle Pitts, we can lock in the extra touchdown every year. So just keep that in mind, that it's always going up. So if you're in, if you're starting a dynasty league or you're in a keeper league, just know Kyle Pitts each year you're getting 1 more touchdown. So
imagine what Mike McDaniels could do with Pitts, considering what he did with Janu Smith.
I would love to see him with that team.
It'd be hilarious. So, and then did you see that Caleb had 5, originally 6? They ended up taking 1 away, but 5 money throws in that game, including, we talked about this, maybe the best throw I've ever seen under the circumstances on that 4th down. The game's over if he doesn't complete it. And I mean, he literally dropped it in between 3 defenders, running backwards away from him, rolling
left. That's the thing that's just insane to me. Like, if you just go out in your backyard tomorrow, if you're not sure how hard this is,
be sure to stretch first. We don't want you to pull anything.
Yeah, please. Like, I've learned that lesson myself. Yeah, if you're right-handed, try and roll left with speed. Because again, like you said, he is evading a pass rusher, and make a throw with any accuracy more than like 10 yards.
That's why he catapulted. I thought he got hit when I originally saw it.
Right, he leaped in the air.
He had to throw so much force to get that ball, down there. But so those 5 money throws, Mahomes' best postseason run ever is 7 money throws over every round of the playoffs. Caleb just did it in 1 round, got 5/7 of the way there. He's really good, and it's something again we talked about last week. People keep harping on the completion percentage. He's not giving up the negative plays like he used to. So yes, the completion percentage, I'm sure we all, they want it to
wish it was higher. No doubt.
But with all the big plays and down the field strikes that he, consistently just puts right in the receiver's hands, I don't think it's a big deal as long as he's not taking a bunch of sacks and, adding a bunch of negative plays.
Right. I mean, the real question for him is, can he become elite? And to become elite, that consistency and accuracy is going to have to come along.
Right.
But they're in the second round of the playoffs, so the number 2 seed, and he hasn't gotten there yet. It's a little bit high variance. And, if they play this season, if you play this season 10 times, I think they end up with the worst record every single time after this one. I don't think you're good. Matching it would be incredibly difficult. Exceeding it, I think, impossible.
Or we might have to burn Ben Johnson at the stake to see whether or not he's a witch, because it is. It's been absurd.
Fair question.
They've won all these games.
And again, 6 fourth quarter comebacks this season. I looked it up, which, no surprise, league leading, 6 fourth quarter.
Does that include last week, or was that just the regular season?
That was the regular season. So, it's actually 7. So 7 times in 18 games. Wow. So, they're like twice as likely to have a fourth quarter comeback as they are to lose a game.
Over half their wins would mean they have 13 right now, I believe. So over half their wins would be in fourth quarter comebacks.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, fantastic time for the Bears. Shout out to all Bears fans. Like
Crowd
you guys
was great too. Crowd was so good.
They deserve it. I think even most Packers fans would probably admit that like Bears fans deserve some happiness. Well, maybe they won't admit it out loud, but I think deep down they know that Bears fans do deserve some. Again, like the last time they went to a Super Bowl, Rex Grossman was their quarterback. So that even in success, it was kind of disgusting. So shout out to them. This is awesome. The weather is good news for them because, this Rams team seems designed to
they would have been licking their chops.
Ravage this Bears.
Yes, 110%. But you can't deny it's going to feel like 4 degrees. Like again, Matthew Stafford, quarterback, physical trait wise, is the exact kind of quarterback you want for this kind of weather. He can make every throw. He's still got a cannon for an arm. He's got a quick release, all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you, at 37, when I went outside, it was a lot worse when it was really cold than it was at, say, 25 or even 30.
It makes a difference.
And there's so much data on just these dome teams playing in these like absurd cold games. And it's not good. Like, yes, there's outliers, but overall it's bad.
It's not Jordan Love and the Packers coming to Chicago to play in the cold because, of course, they're doing that every week. It's as cold or colder. So, yeah, it's a much different situation. I will say, last year in the playoffs, the Rams ended up in a snow game against Philadelphia.
That was a great game.
Who was again, your guy, Jalen Carter.
Yep.
They were going to lose the game.
Yep.
They were going to lose the game. The Rams are going to win, and then we would have either had a Rams or a Commanders Super Bowl against Kansas City.
That would have been.
But in that game, 44 dropbacks, 324. Obviously, that's not the greatest efficiency of all time because he threw it 44 times, but he had a 300-yard, 2-touchdown game in the cold.
And Puka was phenomenal in that game.
The catch he made that seemed like it was setting up the completion of their comeback.
Outrageous. I forgot about that on sidelines, right?
Yeah, that would be one of those catches that, like, again, if they had won that game and gone on to win the Super Bowl, that's one of those catches that's etched in history. Instead, like it's the one where it's like,
on the sideline in the 2016 Super Bowl. Yeah.
Or whoever the Seattle guy was in that Patriots Super Bowl where he made the bouncing around catch. And now I don't even remember which guy it was because a couple plays later, something big happened. So that to me, that's my proof of concept that I'm still buying Stafford unless the wind gets really crazy, which right now it seems like it's not going to. So I'm willing to buy that he will still ball out in the cold. I like to play again. Like you said, Bears, not a poorly coached team, so they might switch up. They might play more zone than they normally do. Even then, it's still Matthew Stafford. It's still Puka. It's still Devontae.
I was say their secondary. It's a mismatch. Like when you look at the Rams receivers and tight ends, for that matter, versus just the Bears coverage in the passing game.
Yeah, because no surprise, most of the defenses that are left are very good defenses, and the exceptions really. I mean, New England I think is solid. San Francisco, in part just because of injuries, and this Bears defense is just not particularly good. They're outside the top 20 in DVOA against the run and the pass. This is not one that scares you. They've kind of the most impressive thing about that Green Bay game, them shutting it down in the second half. It's been a very turnover-dependent defense, and that didn't actually happen. And they still got the stops when they needed it.
They did do a good job against Green Bay's rushing attack. I actually thought Green Bay was going to have more success running than they did. And if they can do that again this week and make it one-dimensional, I think they have a much better chance of winning.
I'm 100% with you. My general vibe is I'm kind of a doubter that they can make the stops.
I agree. No, I'm with you.
Green Bay's O-line, not what it was, and also banged up. This is not the Green Bay team we've seen the last few years when it came to running the ball. So Kyren Williams, 4th in average yards before contact. No surprise, this is the top run blocking team per PFF.
Oh, they're the top?
Well, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure
I didn't even know they were that close to the top. Wow.
No, they're actually, they're easily number one. San Francisco is 2, and the Bears are 3. So the 3 best run blocking teams per PFF, all in the playoffs. But yeah, number 1 in PFF run blocking grade. Adjusted line yards from FTN, which tries to just look at what's happening at the line of scrimmage. We're not looking at the big plays. Number 1. So consensus, number 1 run blocking team. And Bears, dead last average yards before contact allowed for PFF. Adjusted line yards, 29th. So this is a Bears team that's been horrible at stopping the run at the line of scrimmage. It's a Rams team that is awesome at opening those holes. So, I mean, Kyren is the more obvious play, but if you need to save money at running back, Blake Corum does become an interesting play, especially if the weather takes a turn.
Or were they 29th then, Joe? I wanted to jot
So
that
adjusted
down.
line yards, they were 29th.
Okay.
And they're dead last for PFF.
Yards before contact, right?
Yards before contact. Yeah. So to me, Blake Corum's seen 24 carries over the last 2 games for the Rams. So if you needed to go cheap, 5,100, he's interesting. But the more obvious play is the guy who's scored double digits every week since the first Carolina game back in week 13 for the Rams. So Kyren Williams, to me, he's the guy that I'm thinking about pairing him with a lot of RJ Harvey, especially if I'm going Josh Allen. Because obviously if I go Stafford, maybe I'm going to hit up the pass game more in this game. But if I'm going Josh Allen, then I can see, especially because of the matchup, because of the weather, this could be a heavier run script than we're used to seeing maybe, in which case I really like Kyren Williams.
No, that is a very Joe Matz case that I am now on board with, because the yards before contact, I mean, that is something that we've lived off this year, especially when you get, say, a top 5 offensive line versus a bottom 5 defensive line. It's almost not a fair fight. And Kyren can actually make moves. And I do really like the Corum play, because Corum is more likely to hit a big one than Kyren is. And with that kind of push, right, yards before contact, Corum's that guy. If he hits the second level, it might be bye-bye.
And one thing I should mention, because I forgot to earlier in the pod, San Francisco, 3rd worst run defense grade. So that's another Charbonnet argument right there, is that San Francisco's run defense grade on PFF also horrific. So there's some opportunities here with them.
So what I love, though, is you're talking about the top 3 teams and running the ball, basically. They're still here. I don't...
Right. And again, the Bears, they get a Rams team pretty good against the run. The other really good run team, I mean, San Francisco's run blocking actually ranks pretty high, but I did look it up. 3.9 yards per carry for McCaffrey, 3.8 for them as a team. Brian Robinson was actually over 4, but Mac Jones's 36 carries for 60 yards kind of dragged the average back down. Unsurprisingly.
What's Purdy averaging? Because he's so much more mobile, I think, than most people realize if you don't watch him week in and week out.
I'll have to pull it up again. I think he's okay.
Don't worry.
He's over 4 though. Like, he's, again, to me, that's always been the huge differentiator between like him and a Jimmy G. I mean, I think he's just generally better than Jimmy G. But
yeah, but no, you're
the fact that he can make a play,
move around too.
Yeah,
like just by time,
off script. It's not all dependent on did Kyle call the exact right play.
Right,
it's
100%.
Something goes wrong, he's still capable. But who on the Bears? Is there a Bears player? I mean, like we said, Loveland. We're always going to be pro Loveland at this point. Is there anyone else?
I don't think I can play him this week, because again, if I could play 3 tight ends, I probably would. I don't think I can this week. I mean, I do like Chicago's receivers. Just pick one. Even Zacchaeus, because I mean, he scored a touchdown again last week. Like, this Rams secondary has been real bad at times. Over the last like 5-6 weeks of the season.
Didn't look awesome last week.
No. And I just want to say that Caleb can, hit the deep downfield pass again. Outside of maybe Drake May, I don't think there's anybody better in the NFL right now of just that, perfect kind of dime to a sprinting wide receiver. Caleb was the other quarterback that honestly I was thinking about putting in lineups, and then I told myself to trust my gut. And I'm probably, again, I think I'm just going to go Allen in all of them. But if I was going to play Caleb, I do like him and Loveland because I think that saves enough money at quarterback where it can justify playing Loveland as your tight end. And then you still play bully tight end. And I think you could still fit in, CMC and Puka, CMC and JSN. You could work it out from there. But I will say the weather, like these night games, it's tough when it's so cold. And in so many ways, I actually think the Saturday slate is going to have so much more points than the Sunday slate. The Rams Bears could be the exception, but I mean, we've seen this. One of the Packers and the Niners were both like the top offenses in the NFL. And I think that was that game that was like -5 degrees or whatever. And they combined for like 17 points. That was a game we were talking about last week. Jimmy G threw the ball 9 times. And San Francisco went into Lambeau and beat them.
An easy win.
Cold weather, like with this kind of cold, again, it's going to be freaking 4 degrees. Especially the reason it's 4, even though it's going to be like 17, 18 degrees, is the wind. So it could be a huge factor. I would assume, again, Caleb a little bit more used to this at this point, but this also got played in California, right? And is not from the Midwest or Mideast, Midwest, Northeast, where it's cold basically. So I don't know. I go back and forth. Part of me, this is one of those games that part of me just thinks everything in my mind, all the analytics, everything says Rams win. But at some point, you just can't deny what this Bears team has done over and over again, mostly at home this season. Because, I mean, you think about it, like what was the difference in the Packers-Bears, first 2 games? They came feverishly back in one of them, but they couldn't get it done on the road. But at home,
it's true.
They did it, right? Like that crowd was so good. I'm fascinated. This is the first time I'm doing this where I'm actually putting predictions with the scores in the article.
Okay. I like it.
Because I went 6-0 last week with my picks, with and without the spread on the Inside Drive podcast. Don't worry, I'm not bragging. It won't ever happen again. I mean, it's gambling.
I was going to say, I missed my opportunity to just follow you on a crazy parlay and make a ton of money. So
it's impossible. And I got a little lucky, right? Like because the Panthers game, I was one of the only people that was, I mean, you're getting 10 points. It's the NFL. It was
playoffs. A lot, yeah.
Same thing with San Francisco. We talked about that last week. That I was like, I mean, I did have them picking the upset, but I thought the spread was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was lost on that one, and yeah, thankfully it came through. Because I had a little money on that, just McCaffrey plus like some McCaffrey yard and reception totals with the spread. So thank you, San Francisco.
You know what, like kind of odds you could have got if you'd have done 2 receiving touchdowns for CMC? I was thinking about this because I know that for multiple touchdowns on one of the sites that what is it? It's Sleeper that I do it on. It was like you're getting plus, I think, 275. And that was either or, like rushing or receiving. I'm sure 2 receiving touchdowns, like in Vegas on books, you're probably getting 4 to 5 to 1. So I'm just interested. This is a game I'm not sure where I'm going. But I think that there is a very decent chance that you're going to have 4 road teams winning this weekend.
Ooh, 4 for 4.
And there's one theme to it. Do you know what it is?
To the 4 road teams winning?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be?
Experience versus inexperience.
Okay.
You look, all 4 of the teams that are the road teams have way more playoff experience from coaching staff. Because people want to talk about Mike Vrabel. Well, Tennessee didn't do that much.
I mean, coaching staff, I would say at least Denver is obviously
Joe, that
And
was like 2 decades ago. The only
no,
playoff game they played last year, they got dusted
no,
by the
but
Bills.
all right, but who's the head coach in Denver?
Sean Payton. But I'm
Yeah,
saying, like,
so
when was the last time
been
he got
around.
in the playoffs with the Saints, though?
I mean, it's been a few years, but it's
Been
not
a
like that's not
decade.
you don't lose it.
Oh, I do think you lose it because the game changes. Like, you know
Oh,
what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
The
I
game
think
is
he's
totally
proven
different than
successful enough that it's not.
We'll
It
see.
hasn't passed him by. He's not Pete Carroll or Bill Belichick trying to hire their sons to do everything.
Fair enough. But the
That's
bigger
where it falls
point that I'm
apart.
trying to make is the
I,
quarterbacks. Josh
right?
Allen
No,
versus Bo
100%.
Nix. Brock Purdy
Giant
versus
gap there.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Again, Drake May could, completely turn around. And I think he probably will play better than he did last week. But CJ Stroud, even with the mess he was last week, this is a guy that's won 3 years in a row a playoff game. 2 of them on the road. And then again, Stafford versus Caleb. Like, if the games are close, which I think they will be, much like, 4 of the 6 last week, a lot of it could come down to which quarterback can get points when it matters. Allen did that. Purdy did that. Stroud didn't have to. Both Stafford and Williams did that right when they needed it late. I'm excited, though. You said this a few weeks ago. It's the most open NFL playoffs I can remember. I still think that there's
awesome.
a legit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that can win the Super Bowl.
Okay, wait. So I'm trying to think which 2 teams are you throwing out San Francisco?
Nope.
No, not throwing out. So which 2 teams are you throwing? You don't think the Patriots?
One of them is the one that we just talked about, the Bears. I don't think they have any chance.
So
I don't think they're going to win 3 straight games from here. Like, I can't see that.
No, I agree with you.
I don't think the Patriots can either.
Oh, I think the Patriots can.
It's too young, too soon. I don't think that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
right, no,
never in the history of the NFL has a quarterback just came in right and had the kind of second year that Drake May has, and then went on to win the Super Bowl.
Won the Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, Marino lost
Patrick
the Super Bowl.
Mahomes
lost the conference championship. Tom Brady obviously won the Super Bowl, but he had a much different season.
How'd he do in it? I was gonna say, what did he do though? Well, right? Oh no, he did win another Super Bowl. You're right.
So Tom Brady won the Super Bowl year 2, but that involved, a game where he got knocked out.
He won a Super Bowl touchdown. Too. Right?
No, because this is Brady's second season. His first year as a starter is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like the
his second season, though. First year as a starter.
Okay. All right. But I'm saying that Brady technically won a Super Bowl, though, the second year, too, because he ended up, May ended up playing, what was it? I think he started 9 games last year. 8 or 9.
Yeah, the majority of the season last year. If I was knocking 2 out, I don't buy San Francisco being able to pull it off with how injured they are. And then I'm with you. The Bears, historically, when teams get really lucky and what an analytics person like myself would call luck, where it's like you're winning close game after close game, it either is you end up with a quarterback on an absolute heater, which honestly, the Joe Flacco Super Bowl was that, because that defense was not an all-time great Ravens defense. It was good. Flacco caught a heater. They just won a bunch of close games. Eli Manning's second one in 11. The defense kind of came alive after not being great in the regular season, but
Eli was so good, though. Like, I always say that he was not that great in the 07 Super Bowl. That was all your defense. In 2011, that was Eli. Like, Eli earned that, Super
Eli
Bowl.
was phenomenal. Yeah, again, if you go back, that was the dead last
sideline pass.
In the regular season.
God.
Right, yeah. If you're going what throw would you put against the Caleb Williams one? It's like that would be one of the throws I would be putting in the Mount Rushmore of throws I've ever seen. So it's either QB on an absolute heater, which I guess is Caleb Williams capable of that? Maybe. I don't know if he's there yet. I think pure talent wise, he has a chance. And the other is you just have an all-time dominant defense. You're the Broncos with noodle arm Peyton Manning. And to me, if that's a team this year, that's your Seattle, that's your Houston.
Ravens with Trent Dilfer, Bucks with Brad Johnson.
Horrific offense there,
yeah.
So, and I don't think Caleb's there yet. The consistency is still too wild, and I don't think the defense is good if they're not turning people over in general. So those are the 2 I would cross out. I did want to mention real quick that if I was going Bears wide receiver, I think I'm going Luther Burden.
Okay.
Moore and Adunze are both questionable. It sounds like they're both going to play. They've both logged limited practices the last couple of days, but they're banged up. And Rams heavy zone team. Burden has been easily the most effective player against zone. None of the other receivers are over 2 yards per route run against zone. He's over 2.5. So, and in 5 of his last 6 games, he's seen at least 6 targets. So, to me, Burden is the play in that game. One thing I wanted to, I have no idea if anyone's still listening at this point, but we did this last year. We did this last year at this point. So I kind of wanted to run it through with you real quick again, which is
quarterbacks.
Rank the quarter, because if anyone was listening last year, they might remember that I said that I convinced you that we had to put the future Super Bowl MVP last among the 8 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you did.
Which,
but
I'll be honest,
blame you. He was playing bad.
He was playing really bad, and then he completely turned it around. And if I was doing it over again, I think I'd rank him 7th. So,
well, you know how we are. We're going to logically think this out.
Yeah,
so, like,
I was wrong to put Goff ahead of him.
with the evidence that we have in front of us. So, yeah. Josh Allen or
number 1
Stafford? That's the question.
I got to go Josh.
Even though Stafford's won a Super Bowl.
Even though Stafford's won a Super Bowl, even though he's going, I think he should be 2nd for MVP. But either way, he'd be ahead of Josh Allen for MVP. So I can totally see the argument for Stafford. I just think you're telling me I need to win the next 3 games. I'm still going to go Josh Allen. I just think outside of a healthy Patrick Mahomes, there's no one else I would take over Josh Allen in this situation.
Oh, no offense to Mahomes. I would take Allen over Mahomes at this point.
I think that's fair. I wouldn't even really push back on that at this point. I will say, though, I've seen some like metrics that, like, when you look at like pressure rate and then separation rate for your wide receivers, that really drives home how much help Patrick Mahomes needs to start getting, because that team is not well constructed right now offensively.
Sure. No, I get all that, but he's not been very accurate. Like Allen has beat him both, obviously in the running part.
Regular seasons.
He's been better, and he's been incredible in the playoffs. It is not Josh Allen costing them to lose.
No.
This is where it gets really interesting doing this, right? Is right here. Like after these first
number 3. Yeah.
Well, I think that I feel pretty confident in this person. I'm interested to see who you say. Who do you have at number 3?
I mean, I think you should know who I have at number 3. It's Drake May.
Get out of here. It's Brock Purdy.
Now, Drake May is, I think, is a significantly better quarterback than Brock Purdy.
He needs to do something. Show me something. I'm sorry. Playoff experience matters. Being able to get
it matters, but
he has not been challenged in the playoffs yet. He won a game where literally the team he played against could do nothing on offense. I agree with you. Drake May is a better quarterback. Like he is, but that doesn't mean, like, if we're ranking the quarterbacks for this playoff, I feel better with Brock Purdy, who's been to a Super Bowl. He played pretty well in that Super Bowl. He's played very well this season. Like, I would rather have Purdy with his experience than May with his inexperience. I need to see something from these young guys before I can put them over a quarterback who has been to the Super Bowl and the NFC title game potentially 2 extra times after this year in his first 5 seasons in the league.
Yeah, I mean, this is also both of us arguing with the guys that we've always championed. You've been the biggest Brock Purdy supporter I know, and to your credit, you've been pretty consistently proven correct about this.
Thank you.
And then even earlier this year, where we had the nonsense about Mac Jones being as good.
I can't believe some of the metrics. Like, he is consistently one of the best down the field throwers, whether in catchable rate, completion percentage, his passer. Like, I'm telling you, I'll have to send you all that information. I put it together. I was going to put it in the article, but it got way too long. I would have May 4th. Or who do you have?
Yes, this is, to me, my top 3. Where that was the easy part to me, and then 4 is where it gets more interesting. I think I am overall with you. I think I would go Brock Purdy. I think, again, you can say there's more talented guys. Again, there's number 1 picks, and he was number 256. But yeah, he's been there. He was a play away from winning a Super Bowl. He didn't end up playing much in that one NFC championship, but he's gotten the team to 2. So yeah, I think if I'm looking around these other guys where they haven't been here, or at least in Stroud's case, they haven't been further than this. So yeah, I'm with you. I would go Brock Purdy 4. So we disagree on 3 and 4, but we got the same guy, same top half. So
I'll go first, fifth, since I made you go first for fourth. I'm gonna go CJ Stroud here.
I think I am too. I like statistically, I don't even, again, as a stats person, I don't even know if you can make a super strong argument for him to be fifth. But
Other
if you're
than
just
the
telling
fact
me
that he's won again a playoff game each of the last 3
Sure.
seasons, he has, again, to me, this is all about this year. He has, the best defense, I think, left in the playoffs. Denver and Seattle could say, hey, hold on, we have pretty good defenses as well. I just think the Texans defense is on another level. They're that defense that not only can they stop you, they can potentially like beat you by themselves. Like literally they score that many defensive touchdowns. And again, Stroud, I know the beginning was really shaky. He was really good, and that was after Nico Collins got knocked out. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
In that third quarter, they kind of put that game
yeah.
away.
And then again, I think to me that will seem like the worst game I've seen him play in the playoffs. So obviously, it helps when you have a great defense. You can win those games. There's always a few still like anti-Tom Brady's the GOAT people. They'll always point out he got to win games like that where other quarterbacks don't always.
Yep, that's totally true.
Also, who outside of Justin Herbert, who's just got eliminated, who amongst these quarterbacks is playing behind a worse offensive line this year, last year? It's like it's been a tough situation.
When he gets protection, he's still very, very, very good.
I would trust him over the rest of these guys.
You're up for 6.
Man, it's an interesting one. I think, again, statistically, it's Darnold. Bo Nix is interesting to me in that I generally still don't believe in him. But anytime they get to the end of a game,
you don't believe.
It's almost the opposite. It's like I believe in Bo Nix more in the last 3 minutes of a game than I do the prior 57. Where I watched him that first 57 minutes, and maybe it's also because I watched him against the Giants, where this is kind of how it played out. Where the 3 quarters, they can't do anything, they suck. Fourth quarter, he starts to get going. It was like, if I remember right, he was 2 of 9 in that game on throws 20 yards downfield, and the 2 he hit were to set up the game-winning field goal when they got the ball back with 30 seconds left.
It was insane.
He just seems I don't think he's that good. I think if you look at amount of lost yards on missed throws, he and Caleb Williams, I think, are the top 2 or 2 of the top 3. But he just seems unbothered by the big moment. And I guess to a degree, I'd say the same thing with Caleb, where again, 6 fourth quarter comebacks. But man, can he make you wonder for the first 3 quarters? And then Darnold's the opposite, where it's when things are going good, he's been better than those guys when things are going good. All the downfield passing stuff this season, it's him and Drake May at the top. But if it's 2 minutes left and the game is on the line, it's the opposite. It's there's too much history. Sam Darnold. So I'm just going to go with the quarterback I would rather have. Maybe I'm just thinking long term, and that's my tiebreaker. I'll go Caleb. He's got 6 fourth quarter comebacks. He just made one of the greatest throws we think we've ever seen. So I'll take Caleb 6. I don't feel awesome about it, but I think I would feel worse taking either of the other 2 over him.
I am 100% on board with you, and this is where because I'm going to tweet out both of our lists here and see how much we can piss off the fans.
Hold us accountable.
But I'm going to be, probably piss off both of the fan bases either way that they're going to be 7th and 8th. But give me Bo Nix 8th. I'm going with Sam Darnold as the 7th. I know, you could make a very easy case that, Darnold's never won a playoff game. Neither is Bo Nix. Okay. And I just,
they've had the same amount of opportunities,
which is the other, big thing. And then again, Seattle's defense. And to me, this is all encompassing, right? It's a confidence ranking. Who do you feel most confident in these quarterbacks, right? If the game is tight. And to me, part of that is what do you have around you? He has JSN. He has you keep making the case, and you're probably right. Like, actually, a better defense than even Denver's. So I am going to put Darnold 7th.
I will say the two guys we put in the bottom have 9 in Darnold's case and 10 in Nick's case, game-winning drives over the last 2 years. So, like, again, if you're a fan of those teams and you want to shit on us, pretty easy data point to be like, I trust my guy. But yeah, I would go the same where, again, statistically, Darnold has been significantly better than Bo Nix this season and last season too. So yeah, I'll bet on Caleb Williams' just overwhelming talent and the fact that he just made an incredible play to make him 6. But yeah, I think I'd go Darnold 7, Nix 8. But yeah, if I was doing Super Bowl odds, the guy in the bottom half that I would feel the best about would be Darnold, just because, yeah, dominant defense.
I think that's fair.
Well,
it's also
and I
to
guess
me
Stroud
funny
too, the true dominant
that
defense.
our brains have just sort of merged together. That the only difference we had in those 8 quarterbacks were Purdy and May. And I'm going to ask a bunch of people to do this. Just
yeah,
I'm
I think I'm going to ask some people too. I'm curious.
Well, send them to me, because I may end up waiting and getting a bunch of people, and we'll just
do a little poll, see how it comes out.
Or just do like a subtweet where it's include the person's handle and how they'd rank them, because it is fascinating. And again, I took it as, because I want to make sure we explain this the correct way to people. Who do you have the most confidence in winning in the postseason? And you can, again, any factor can play into it, but we're talking about in the postseason right now.
Right. I need to win 3 straight games, because that's what we have left.
Yep.
To win the Super Bowl. Who am I taking? And to me now, I'll say maybe you and I are looking at it slightly differently, because I'm trying to at least somewhat look at it in a vacuum. I mean, I'm not completely removing the scenarios of like the teams around them, but yeah, like, again, Stroud's offense leaves a lot to be desired. I would like Stroud more if he had, JSN to throw to and a better offensive line, which like all of these teams would give him.
I mean, it's not JSN, but let's not forget that if Nico Collins is out there,
Nico's back.
He's just going to miss one game. He's really good.
Yeah, which I'm hoping. Houston's the team I want to see win the Super Bowl. So I hope, and I believe you have money on that, right? So
yep.
So we're Team Houston. Get it done, CJ.
One of the better futures I placed in November. So, well, we went, no surprise, talked about 4 games. We went an hour and 36 minutes. Welcome to us. Brittany, last night when I went on Football Die Hard, she goes, so you think it'll be about an hour or whatever? And I go, baby, this is a 15-minute segment. This isn't me and Joe Matz where every podcast goes for an hour to an hour and 45 minutes, because we just love to nerd out and talk ball. They'll straight up just shut off my mic if I don't stop talking. I have 15 minutes. That's
like mute.
So, but there's few things I love more than doing the show with you. You're the best.
Yeah, it's a blast.
And
good luck with the coaching search, obviously.
The NFL is just amazing. It's sad because we know it's coming to an end, but I love the NFL playoffs so much.
Well, and the amazing thing too about the NFL that's, again, is just different than everyone else is, again, all week, for those of us who don't have teams in the playoffs, we're like, who's our new coach? Who's the new GM? And it dominates sporting news. And then you get to the weekend, and all that matters are the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing else, at least in American sports, where, again, you can dominate the entire time, even though you have games on 2 days.
NBA is getting better though. Like, they're really good about like always having something to talk about in the NBA, which I thought we'd never get to that point. You know what I mean? With Summer League, the draft, free agency period, like they've also turned that into a year-long sport.
Yeah,
to your point,
true.
It's not ingrained in the DNA of Americans. Like, I feel like at this point, football is like, that old national pastime for baseball. I think you can absolutely say that now about football. That's the national pastime.
Oh yeah,
actually,
it's a clear number one.
So, and of course, it's a sport that we named the same thing as another sport all over the rest of the world.
USA, baby.
We're an interesting country. But for Joe and Keith, this has been fun. We'll check out all the great stuff on fantasysixpack.net. And if you have any questions or whatever, you can hit us up on Twitter
Yep.
/X or Blue Sky. We'll talk to you soon. See you.